Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nate Wharton. I'm a sixth grade science teacher here at Canberra Heights Middle School here in Patton, Pennsylvania. We are a rural school district, low income, and I am going to present today on self-efficacy. Now, as you can see, I'm not in the most grandiose of all presentation locations. I'm not dressed professionally, but let me give you a little background. We have a snow day today. I had this on my agenda to get this done. I have my two sons in my main classroom. They are both on live stream sessions through our elementary school. And I've sort of got kicked back to the coffee room here so that I can get this recorded and up for you guys. All right. So I just want to keep this short, sweet, hopefully a couple takeaways that hopefully at least one of you can get some use out of it. I learned a lot about science self-efficacy as I became the advisor for the Pennsylvania Junior Academy of Science and also the Pittsburgh Regional Science and Engineering Fair for my school district. Over the past 7 years, we've acquired over $7 million, over $2 million in scholarship offers. And I've really noticed a difference in people's perspectives of their own ability, their belief in their ability to actually apply science to their daily lives. This actually fueled my doctoral pursuit, which I graduated in May of 2019 with a doctorate degree studying how to build self-efficacy in STEM education. So I'm going to give you sort of the 50-cent version. If you ever want to reach out to me and we can discuss it further, I'm obviously here for you at any time. All right, so creating a curriculum that fosters self-efficacy. Henry Ford had a great saying that whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And I really believe as teachers, we always focus on content, making sure kids are prepared for tests. But we also have to remember that these kids have to be able to use this knowledge and apply it somewhere, because knowledge without application really doesn't help you a whole lot. So a goal should not only be the knowledge to obtain, but also the feeling that they can use this knowledge from our classes and apply it to their lives and see where it's connected. And one of the big ways I always remember this is, how do we go from looking at models, right? Almost every biology class and high schools across America have these models. And then we are trying to prepare people that then can take those models and actually open up people and perform surgery. How do we take a student that goes from A's in biology and anatomy and physiology and get them to actually to where they know they can apply it in an emergency room kind of a situation? And that all deals with self-efficacy. All right, there's four main ways which I think we have to understand. And the first one is something we're very well versed on, is mastery experience. We understand that we need students to be able to reteach, retest, and get to a level of proficiency that we feel is mastery. Mastery is the most important thing that we need to make sure we focus on. This has the biggest impact on students as far as their belief in their ability to apply knowledge down the line. Vicarious experience is where they are surrounded by other students who do what the desired task is effectively and efficiently. They sort of encourage because they are around, they are part of that environment. Sort of like Dr. Stephen Covey says about sharpening the saw. We have apprenticeships whenever we talk about, union carpenters and we have master level, carpenters. And whenever we do this stuff, we partner with new people, with people that are more advanced or have skill sets that are a little higher than what the apprentice is, and that allows that person to pursue that level. Being sure we verbally and socially persuade, and that is giving encouragement, very specific encouragement for the learners, and also keeping our thumb on the pulse of the emotional and psychological state of our students, especially in the age of COVID. We see a lot of kids are very withdrawn. They're sort of adapting to this new environment. We need to be aware on that as far as what we could present to students, how far we could push them on a day and keep them out of that frustration range. So the four main parts, I'm going to briefly go over these. Like I said, if you want to discuss this further, reach out to me. I'm just trying to keep this short and sweet and to the point. Mastery, okay? Give the chance for students to strengthen their self-efficacy through mastery, where we find their level and we give them challenges that push them, but that they can achieve. They can reteach and retest and allow these students to be part of feeling of success. Allow them to succeed. Social modeling, all right, where they can work with peers who can accomplish a task, and it helps them believe in their ability. So when we use, cooperative grouping, now obviously with COVID, that presents a little bit of a challenge, but we will get through this, obviously. And as we get through this, we're going to have that ability to recalculate our way of we teach, the way we partner people together. Social persuasion, offering verbal persuasion, reinforcing specific skills that students do well. All right, not just a general, hey, good job, guys, but if you are very specific as to a task that you see done. And finally, building a very positive environment, creating a positive environment where exploration and mistakes are able to be made without fear of any kind of a negative aspect to that. 4 ways to improve this. And if you get these 4 things out of here, I want you to think of these videos and they'll help you. Okay, I can't help but think of mastery without thinking of Muhammad Ali. And I want you to watch this little clip here. I will pause it halfway through and then we'll keep skipping ahead, but it's only 15 seconds or so.
15 times I told the crowd what round he's going down, and this jump ain't no different.
All right, so Muhammad Ali, I am the greatest, right? As he said, 15 times. He has experienced mastery to that level. I think we all know if Ali was not so dominant in boxing, he would have never had that monumentous personality to him. He would have, I don't know if we would even remember him. But he built that success, and building that success after that success allows him to have that aura around him, that belief in his ability to pursue any boxing action. Now, we want to transfer that to the school setting, allow students to have that mastery experience. So eventually when they leave, they have that feeling, I am the greatest kind of a feeling, that they are able to take what we want them to learn and apply it to the real world. All right, the next part, vicarious experience. All right, being around other successful people and also learning from those people. One of my favorite series is Rocky. All right, this is a Rocky 3 reference. This deals with Apollo Creed and Rocky. Basically, Rocky lost a match, had to retrain, and he had to train in a different method. So what he did was he seeked out somebody whose method he believed would allow him to be successful. And we're not going to watch the whole clip, but you can see through these clips, maybe the music will get you fired up too. But he trains with Apollo. Apollo teaches him how to box in a totally different method, shows him skills that otherwise he did not have. And as he does, he taught him new ways to fight, and ultimately Rocky wins the match because he trained with Apollo. So getting around other people and, as Dr. Covey says, sharpen the saw. You want to get around other students that are going to sharpen the skills of some students that are, not able to comprehend and do it as well. Have those actively engaged students involved. All right, 4 ways also is verbal and social persuasion. This can, it's amazing how I think we can all think of one person that's made a dramatic impact in our lives. And I found this Travis Pratt clip from America's Got Talent, and it absolutely blew my mind. So if you just watch this little bit of time.
Silence the voice in your head that is saying you can't. So I'm here today because my girlfriend put me up to it, honestly. She's my rock. She's my encouragement. I wouldn't trade her for anything. What did you learn from afar?
So he brings up his girlfriend. She's my rock. She's my encouragement. She told me I need to go after this, that I have a beautiful voice. I need to display it for the world. And that one person made a drastic change in his life. And when you hear this guy sing, it's really a gift to the world. And how many of our students have talents that we don't know about, that a little bit of encouragement, may lead to the next business revolution we have, or the next great surgeon or medical breakthrough, or whatever their area of interest is. And finally, the last one is emotional and psychological states. If you ever get a chance to watch, the story about Bethany Hamilton and being able to jump back on a surfboard after a shark attack, it's a great story how she, really emotionally and psychologically rebuilt herself to be able to do that. But also Disney's Pixar, this Inside Out, I tell you what, as a children's movie, I think it was one of the most impactful and deep movies I've watched in a long time. But as we watch this part, I want to point out you can watch as this girl's frustration builds, which sometimes we see and don't see in our own students, is something we need to keep an eye on for our kids for building self-efficacy. Because if they are frustrated, if they're overwhelmed, they're not going to learn well. I think we all know that. We all understand that. When they start getting to this point where anger starts getting involved because they're not successful or they don't have the ability to do better, they get that overwhelming frustration. And at that point, we lost them until we could get them back where they need to be. This is where the reteaching, retesting. Kids do poorly, it's okay. Let's figure out a game plan going forward because we want our kids to be successful. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we want them to have our knowledge and also be successful that we're trying to teach them in our classroom. All right, so how can we do this? Provide students with meaningful choices. So whenever we're covering content, this is a simple best practice, allowing different opportunities for exploration, assessment, demonstration, any of those different areas where they could take the content and present that they know the mastery in different ways. Allow students to control the pace of the lesson. Sometimes allowing students to go deeper, some kids to do just what they want to, as far as meeting the criteria, and allowing some, you may have to foster them along the way, but while you're doing that, allowing other exciting opportunities for students to choose that route. State to students how it is related. They need to understand why. We talk about why a lot, right? Why is this stuff important? And that deals with their interests, career goals in the real world. And also providing opportunities to engage in activities to demonstrate usefulness to future careers in real world. We do a lot of work here. We try to work with sustainability. We do a lot of work with chickens. We start embryology and sort of talk about sustainability. We also work with our garden clubs, and we grow fruits and we grow plants and we grow just so that students can see that they can have an impact in the world. Now they're 11 years old, so right now the impact might be a little small, but it's got to start somewhere. And then from there, they could see how they see the plants that they grow sold at the garden sale. Then that can help beautify the local town and the parks, and trying to give these kids opportunities that show why their information is important, is critical. All right. So how can we do this? Divide in big complex learning units and tasks into manageable sections. All right. Not to overwhelm. Allow mastery, stepping up that ladder to get to the unit, the endpoint, but allowing these students to be successful along the way. Thinking of different ways we can provide feedback for the students, not just slapping a test down on their desk saying, hey, good job, or hey, let's try better next time. We have to try to think of a new way to approach these students. Include any of the following elements into activities. Anything dealing with novelty, food, social interactions, games, puzzles. Anytime you can relate anything dealing with what their interest is obviously a very, very important task. And show concern for the students. If they don't do well, they know they don't do well. They get a 60%, even if they don't act like it, it affects them. And sometimes when we pull them aside and say, hey, listen, I want to work with you and try to get this grade up a little bit. Will you do that with me? Let's meet. Let's come up with a game plan, how you could show me. Do you want to do X, Y, or Z, and figure out how you can add to your score, how we could go over this content another time, and allow them to experience that mastery. Mastery builds this self-efficacy. All right, so reinforcement, compliment students on skills they develop. Help them practice lack of effort explanation. So reflecting, why didn't they do that? Or why didn't they do well on a test? And let them develop their way to improve going forward. Promote recognition of progress during a lesson. As they go through, figuring out ways that we can recognize them. Hey, good job here. You did an excellent job here. Let's move on to the next part for you. You did this, so let's go here. Help students set their goals. Help them document their growth. Use peer models and help students direct their own learning as much as possible, allowing different avenues for them to explore, whether it's, creating a game, whether it's creating books, whether it's, creating a presentation, allowing the students to present in ways that they want to, that they are interested in. Because ultimately, we want to prevent this, because no student will do well. Mr. Bean, I think, is a pretty comical guy. we want to prevent the anxiety and stress that some of these students feel. Especially when it comes to tests. Right now, we talk a lot about testing, but we all know that schools are a lot more than just what is measured by a test. Yeah, it's important, but at the same time, there's a lot of things more important. Building this idea that students can take the knowledge and apply it to their daily lives is critical. All right, so self-efficacy is perceived capabilities for learners to be able to perform the actions at designated levels. So we want to get these students when they leave our classroom not only with the knowledge but the belief they can apply it to a model. Okay, at this level, that they could make a model of something. Then from the model, then they can extrapolate that out further, and then they can apply it to interactions with humans, for example. So building this self-efficacy is different. All right. We want them to have the belief in their ability. And it's, honestly, sometimes we as teachers, especially in the year 2021, broadcasting from my coffee room here or my back room, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. We don't always get to see the reward for all the hard work we put in. But knowing that ultimately we make a difference in these children's lives has to keep driving us. Seeing, these students later in life, we don't know if we planted that seed, but ultimately we got to look sometimes and reflect and say, maybe I planted that seed back in sixth grade. Maybe I was part of, the nurturing of that seed in sixth grade, allowing students, we've had kids go on and win, the Sundance Music Festival from here. And we're a small town. We've had students go on to medical school. We've had students go on to be doctors and lawyers, and hopefully, we were part of all of that. That is, you want to get the kids to believe when they leave here, they are able to do whatever they would want to do, pursue their passion with the ability of knowing that they have the ability to do the task at hand. All right, thank you all for attending. My name is Nate Wharton. I teach at Canberra Heights Middle School. If you ever have any further input or would like to talk to me about this, by all means, my email address will be attached, nwharton@chsd1.org, and I'm sure it will be in PAMLE as well. I hope you guys have a great rest of the school year. Thank you for attending my session.